The question of the week this week comes from Mark chapter 8, but it's present throughout the entire Gospel of Mark. It's the question about the messianic secret, what scholars have referred to as the messianic secret. Namely, why does Jesus keep telling people not to tell people who he is? If people have correctly identified him as the Messiah, why does he want to keep it a secret? Isn't the point for everybody to know who the Messiah is? Jesus does this at multiple points during Mark. It's also present in Matthew and Luke. And again, it just seems strange to people why would Jesus would want to hide his identity? Well, the passage that I preached on this past week in Mark chapter 8 kind of gives us the answer because in it, Jesus is talking with Peter, and Peter confesses that Jesus is the Messiah. And then Jesus says, "Don't tell anybody about me." And we might be thinking, but Peter just correctly identified you as the Messiah. The answer is because Peter doesn't understand who the Messiah is. In verse 31, after Jesus says, the Messiah is the one who's going to die, the Messiah is the one who's going to sacrifice his life, who's going to be beaten and rejected by the elders, chief priests, and scribes. Peter says, "No, you're not. That's not what's going to happen." In other words, it's very clear from this passage that Peter has the wrong idea of who Jesus is. He thinks that he is the Messiah, which he's correct about, but he has the wrong conception of what Messiahhood means. So perhaps the most compelling answer to this question of why the messianic secret, why does Jesus keep it hidden? Perhaps the best answer is because Jesus knows that nobody quite understands who the Messiah really is supposed to be. Perhaps he keeps it secret because he doesn't want people to confuse him for a political ruler who's going to free them from Roman oppression. And he's waiting for the time in which people will rightly identify him as not just someone who will free them from physical oppression, but will free them from spiritual oppression and from their sins.